should be protested. Matthew Tkachuk, broken sternum. If he plays fully healthy in Game 4, the Panthers tie the series 2-2. Aaron Ekblad, broken foot, shoulder dislocation. Brandon Montour, torn labrum. Radko Gudas, high ankle sprain. Sam Bennett, shoulder injury, and Eetu Luostarinen had a broken foot. I mean, that's 312 points in the regular season. Congratulations to the Vegas Golden Knights, the luckiest Stanley Cup champions of all time.
You're listening to Cofield Company on ESPN Las Vegas.
TikTok reacting. A lot of jealousy out there of VGK winning the Stanley Cup. Daren Millard's here in studio, one of the voices of the Golden Knights. Willie as well, Finley Toyota Studios. Yep, there's the hatred. Do we punch down? Lucky. They got lucky, Daren.
Lucky is how you look at it. I read an article where it said Vegas had one of the luckiest Stanley Cup playoff runs ever because of health. And there is an amount of good fortune that comes with good health through it. But if you want to go on lucky or unlucky, they were unlucky the year before. And that led to some difficult decisions and some a lost year in their minds in the Stanley Cup playoffs, not being able to challenge. So I looked at this as maybe the hockey gods giving back to what they took away a year ago. But the luck about Matthew Tkachuk not being able to play, that wasn't unlucky. That was a good hit that was laid out by Keegan Colasar. That had nothing to do with luck.
And he came back into the game and scored the game-winning or the game-tying goal.
Matthew Tkachuk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the fact that, hockey is hockey. Paul Maurice said it best. This is hockey. Mm-hmm. That's what hockey is. That's to get to that round, you expect to be missing some guys or to be banged up and bruised and feeling it by then. Hockey's not, this is not, and I don't say this in any sort of detrimental way or condescending way, but this is not like, instead of comparing sport, this is not a non-contact sport. They're hitting each other constantly at full speed on ice on a thin piece of metal. Someone, if not 2-3 guys, are going to get hurt. And oh, by the way, the guy that scored the hat trick, you and I both know this. You know it better because you're in the facility. Mark Stone was walking gingerly throughout the playoffs. He was sitting on that blue PT pad, physical therapy, to cushion when he'd sit down. He was still nursing a very sore back, but he was getting through it. So these guys were nursing injuries as well. No, they didn't have broken bones, but that's hockey.
Good fortune. Jack Eichel's able to get up after Matthew Tkachuk hits him and continue on in the series. Matthew Tkachuk is not able to continue at full strength after being hit by Keegan Colasar. Now, it was unprecedented, the amount of health and good health that Vegas had throughout this playoff run.
Daren Millard's with us from VGK Insider Show and Scripps. We didn't get to talk to you since last week.
Right.
I pressed you on, hey, they win a cup. What's going to happen? You're going to get emotional? Did you get emotional? Were you down on the ice? Did you lift up the cup and everything?
I was down on the ice. It was my 13th time being on the ice during a cup presentation. First time as a non-national broadcaster. Yeah. So I had some skin in this game. And talking to a few of the guys that you get to know was emotional. Zach Whitecloud being one, Alec Martinez, I consider a friend. Another was great. Nick Hague with his mom and dad was awesome. And then right before the cup went into the room, I was following it around, tracking where it was, and I saw Stone get near the bench, and I just asked him, can I grab it for a second? And he was so gracious about doing that. And first time ever, and I've been all over the world with the Stanley Cup and had pictures with it, and never thought I'd be able to lift it over my head, be allowed to lift it over my head.
Did you do it? You did it?
Part of somebody that won it, and I did. And it was the closest thing to a religious experience as I've ever had. And I thought about my family and the people that I grew up with and that got me into this game, because my whole life is around hockey. It was amazing.
There was, which part got me to a little right here was before they let us out. As you remember, it was team personnel, then the wristbands with the family. Well, where we were waiting, there were big screens right there, as you know, in the hallway, the Zamboni hallway, is getting to watch the young kids that work for Garrett and India and Nate, Sarah and Paige and Ryan and Michael and those young interns sharing that and lift it. A couple of the girls, they had the players lifting it. They're just out there to learn. Can you imagine what they've gone through all season, right? Being interns, being a part of this organization, and then they go and win the cup and they get to lift and be a part of that. And they're on NHL Network. You know what I mean? They're following him around. Because I went home and I was watching the replay. The next day, they just kept replaying the post game. That was neat.
I've watched it like
That was
20
neat.
times.
Yeah.
And it never gets old. I know it's something new every time. Sean Burke, first time he ever won a Stanley Cup. Player and a coach, 3 decades, 3.5 decades. First time he ever did it. Like that was pretty cool.
Yeah. What got me was ESPN had Marshy mic'd up. I don't like kids. I say it all the time. The kids got me.
Yeah.
Like Marsha. So how many kids does he have?
4, I think.
One boy or multiple boys?
Multiple boys.
Okay. So one of the boys would,
think 3 boys
just saying, Daddy, we win.
Yeah.
I was
Daddy,
like,
you won.
that's
You
so
did it.
cool.
Yeah.
And to have the Conn Smythe trophy there and I was torn between Jack. I thought it could have gone either way, Jack or Marshy on the Conn Smythe, but having an original misfit and what he means to this organization and to that team, that group, he's not just a guy that talks a lot. He's so influential on that group, far more than you would think from the outside. I was really proud of him.
And then last week we had this debate. We all get mad on the show. It's kind of the tenor of the show. But
you guys
Adam
are
Hills
very angry.
He's getting mad about Jack Eichel not winning the Conn Smythe before it even went down. And then you saw Eichel again mic'd up. When Marshall comes up, and Eichel's basically like, "This is the greatest thing I've ever seen."
Yeah,
the teamwork there. He's not like, "I'm pissed about not winning the Conn Smythe."
He's just happy to be in the playoffs.
Yep. Yeah.
He's just happy to win a round. He's just happy to make the Western Conference final. He's just happy to be in a Stanley Cup final. He's just happy to win. So no, I didn't think that he would get too broken up about it. Yeah. There has been times where guys have been disappointed for good reason because the voting went the other way. But that was literally splitting hairs. And then Stone, I thought was in it too with the hat trick at the end. Yeah. I thought he put himself into the mix as well.
Well, and let's be real. The name we're not bringing up is a guy that, outplayed Connor Hellebuck, Sergei Bobrovsky. I mean, hello.
No, he didn't.
Oh, he didn't. Oh, that's right. He didn't outplay Connor Hellebuck.
Which is why I didn't think that Aiden Hill would be up for the Conn Smythe.
But he got votes.
Yep,
he did get votes.
Oh, he deserved votes.
The performances that he put on should be he should have been in the conversation. Mm-hmm. Right. I'm sorry. He didn't play against Connor Hellebuck. He came in the middle of the Edmonton series, but for that kid to come in, and what did he have, like 27 regular season games, I think?
He played, I worked it out, and you go back, and it was May, March, and April. Like he played in the span of 3 months, like March 7th, April 7th, May 6th. In the span of that stretch, he played 2 periods of hockey. From the time he got hurt, 2 periods of hockey with the Henderson Silver Knights, and then went into a playoff game. But he got himself back and he was ready, and it was unexpected but impressive. As unexpected as it was more impressive.
Daren Millard's with us here on ESPN Las Vegas, of course, from Fox Sports Las Vegas and the VGK Insider Show and Script Sports.
I'm waiting to get the camera. The camera's in here.
So we had talked about the P word, which you wouldn't mention, parade.
Right.
And theorized cars, right? Then they have these double-decker buses.
Yes.
So tell us about that experience, broadcast crew, who was up there, players on there, who was on there?
On the bus that I was on was Nick Hague, Ivan Barbashev, Brett Howden, Aiden Hill was on there. So we had 4 players, and it was rocking. Nick Hague's, all the families were on there as well. My wife and oldest child, daughter, 16-year-old.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
The family
and
too.
We had a blast. And
that's awesome.
It was really cool. I've been to parades, but I've never really been in a parade. I've never certainly been part of something like that. Mm-hmm. And when we turned the corner onto Las Vegas Boulevard, it just exploded with energy. And then when you went by the Bellagio fountains, I'll never, ever forget that. This wall of water with the fountains going off and people everywhere and screaming and having fun and champagne, and the players are having a blast. It was I didn't know what to expect. I knew it was going to be fun, but it was just mind-blowing how much I got out of it. And then the Stanley Cup showed up at one point. It just popped up the stairs. We were doing an interview with Barbashev, and then it goes, and Will Carrier was carrying it. And he's like, and he saw the microphone. It's like, oh, this got serious fast, like, because they were all having fun. But the Stanley Cup poured out our bus onto a couple of players drinking out of it down below, like pouring down onto the street, like just fun stuff. I didn't see any people in the fountains, which I was surprised. But it was more fun than I expected, and I was anticipating a lot. And everybody said the same thing. We truly didn't know what was coming because there's never been a parade here. We've seen other parades, but that was just fun. Everybody was having a blast.
So as each bus is passing certain spots, they're yelling, obviously, Carly or Marty, whatever. Did anyone recognize? Were you getting fans?
Oh yeah. Because that's a good point. You're able to make eye contact with people everywhere, and I never thought of that part of it.
Mm-hmm.
But there's hundreds of thousands of people out there, and you're able to make eye contact and throw them a puck or a T-shirt or beads or whatever, and thank you, and especially the police officers along the route. And the Stanley Cup made a couple of stops at stations today. There was a lot of that, more than I expected. And in 2 hours, you get to just let it all out and have a blast. Shared a beer with my daughter. I said this is a one-time thing. That's it. But we shared a beer with that. A lot of spraying. Taught her how to spray beer. So there was an education aspect to it too. She was really excited.
Unlike Jokic, who grabbed the bottle with the Nuggets, and he's like, "Yeah, this sucks."
Well, her hands are too small, and she couldn't get plug it in enough to get the spray to really come out. So we had to do some improvising on that side.
Was it
Father of the Year over here? Father of the Year.
We'll dump that. Dump that.
When you
post that.
When you're going up and down from the press box to go do between periods and stuff, and you get off on that one floor and you make your way, there's going to be fans that you expect to be recognized in T-Mobile. What was the feel? Was the feeling different in a sense of pride or just emotion for you to think to yourself, I didn't realize how many people out here know who I am?
No, because I consider this a hockey town. And I have since I came here. There hasn't been one time where I have thought I have to dumb this down because of the Las Vegas audience. Being a Canadian, I have to oversimplify this. Everything I've oversimplified over the course of my time on the air has been because hockey has been a little more complicated. And what I'm trying to explain is a little bit over the top. But I consider this a legitimate hockey town.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah. I exploded yesterday because I finally had it with the Bay Area lecturing us on sports, especially hockey, when you have the San Jose Sharks since 91. Calm down, hockey experts.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, we got to close on this because we got like 45 seconds left.
I always go long with
the VGK Insider Show is going to be awesome today because where else are you going to get a crew where the entire crew was in the parade? This is great. You guys are all going to reminisce, talk about memories, Chris Chapman out there in the parade, and you're not going to stop me?
Well, I was just going to say they were all out at the parade, but in this case, with the buses going by, I was trying to throw them under the parade route. That was my plan during the route, not ride on the buses with them.
I saw RTHG. I saw Ryan Wallace with the cup. That was pretty cool, and I'm sure he had a good time. So make sure you listen to him. I'm sure you guys are going to do a good bit on the parade and your experiences.
It's like nothing else you can explain to people. And
you guys are so moved by this. We had Chinook on yesterday, and he was like beside himself.
Yeah.
Like, this is incredible.
And I've heard from people all over the National Hockey League. Yeah. Friends, acquaintances that have reached out and just congratulated us and thought it was fun because they all watched the coverage on NHL Network. It's something that will really